I think what inclusion's not is a political philosophy. For me, inclusion is about an attitude, it's a state of mind really.
What we know and what the evidence shows, that if you go through a segregated education, your life chances, your aspiration for life will be much lower than your non-disabled peers. That's the fact. If you go through a segregated education, you're much less likely to be in paid work, you're much less likely to be in further or higher education, you're much less likely to be an active member of your community.
There's a very high proportion of exclusion amongst children with autism, for example, in mainstream schools. That's not been good for the children. In some instances, it hasn't been good for the rest of the class. And so I think it's been almost immoral to push ahead without having the proper resources and training in place.
I want him to go to a special school. I think if he goes to mainstream school, because of his disability of communication or the problem with the communication, that will put him behind. If he's in a class of say 30 or 25, and my child, or say this child, would get one-to-one attention from one person, it would make the other kids wonder what's happening. So that will kind of separate him straight away.
What we know is that young people with the labels that I described before will almost always, their parents particularly, will be sort of like pushed into making those children go into segregated special schools, because the belief is that they won't be able to manage in a mainstream environment, they won't be able to cope, they won't be able to learn. Living human beings learn. We may learn at different paces, we may learn different amounts, but we're all capable of learning. And I absolutely believe, Alfie believes, that an education system should be based on that principle.